Hello. So, for tonight's stream, I'm going to talk about asynchronous collaborations. So, I have been wanted to do this back in last month, but there are some details that I have missed, so I have to update the slides. So this got delayed until today, and so first of all, asynchronous collaboration is defined as a type of collaboration where members do not get active at the same time. So essentially, the members of the collab are not together. And why I'm doing this, so my Twitter followers and my subscribers would know I tend to have frequent stream changes, disruptions and delays. So this makes regular collaborations a risky move, since you can't really afford to pull out or getting late in regular collabs. So having asynchronous collaborations will greatly reduce the problems when such things happen. But that doesn't mean that it's not risk-free, especially considering the types of asynchronous collab that you are having, especially when the timing is tight or the delays when too longer than what was supposed to happen. And then another thing is that when it comes to timing arrangements, if you have a regular collab, then you are restricted somewhat in terms of timing arrangements, because time zones are the thing. And if in my case I can collab with someone from, say, the US, since it will be morning, or it will be the flip AM and PM, but with, say, European or Oceanian VTubers, the time zone difference will be a problem. And having asynchronous collabs will increase the flexibility for these timings. So there are two types of asynchronous collaborations. One is split collab, where different members are doing content at different times, and another one is a semi collab, where some members do not make the content but they do contribute in other ways. So I'm going to give you some examples. So I'm going to post the links first. Please wait for a bit. Okay, format with class. Okay, now I'm gonna. Okay, first of all would be my voiceover sunset music premiere with Last. And in fact, this is the very first collab that I have ever had. So the collaboration would be split music premiere, where I will premiere my own recorder arrangement first, followed by Last own original done as a flute performance. It was quite a success, at least from my point of view, and a lot of viewers actually like the music. I do personally wanted to have another collab with him if there's a chance. Hopefully that day will come soon enough. So the second example that I have would be Principia Alchemia with Arthur Fusuka, and he's currently inactive because he has a child now, and of course he's gotta focus on his family first and foremost. So here's the links. So in this case, we are solving we are giving each other 5 custom levels, and we have to solve them on stream. And to be honest, it was a disaster on Arthur Fusuka's part, which is my own fault because I didn't check the answers properly. I did resolve that issue off stream by DM, and as much as I want to do the same thing with him again in the future, but considering the situation with his newly made family, I do hope that he takes care of his family first and foremost. And then the last one would be the semi-collab with Minami Yotsuba, where he set up a score in line ball movement, and then I had to break his score record by scoring lower. So the way it works is that since the way the scoring works is the number of jumps times number of deaths plus 1, so a lower score indicates a better performance, and based on the score that he had given to me, I decided to go for a score attack where I have to get a score that is less than 10% of his, and needless to say, I have succeeded, and I'm not so sure if I am going to be able to do the same thing. Hopefully the chance will come. And then yep, that's much for it for the examples that I did. And contrary to popular belief, asynchronous collapse isn't exactly a new thing, as you'll be seeing in the next slide. So the common formats are Minecraft projects by its own nature are asynchronous because everyone's going to play Minecraft at different times and building different things in the same server, so obviously it's a form of collab, even though it rarely being promoted as such. And there's also singing relays. That is more common with the Japanese scene, but I do seen Chinese speaking Malaysian VTubers doing something like that quite a while ago. And so the way singing relay works is that every member who participate in the singing relay will take up usually a half an hour slot to do a singing stream, and then after half an hour have passed, then it will goes to the next member until everyone has their turn. And then there's Oven Burst Challenge, which is a VTuber doing some sort of cover band for duets, and other VTubers just put in their vocals, mix up and make it a duet. So it's actually a very common format, even though the term itself isn't exactly popular. And so the advantages of asynchronous collabs is to allow audience to gather together. So essentially, let's say you have two people having an asynchronous collapse, and then they announce it through their social media, then everyone can gather together on one single stream at a time, which definitely allows for a bigger audience retention rather than having viewers to split things around. The second advantage of asynchronous collaboration is the arrangements across time zones will be easier, since everyone can do their own thing at a time where they can feel convenient without needing to coordinate with other members. This means you can do it according to the time that you are comfortable with without needing to account for the availability of other members. And the third advantage of asynchronous collaboration is the increased collab compatibility. So normally when it comes to collaborations, you have to account of, say, who the members will be, and there will be issues if the members are way too divergent. Say someone, for example, a VTuber who is completely say-so would have trouble having regular collab with a YouTuber unless they really being able to, say, arrange things how things would go, and the YouTuber can restrain the performance during the collab. But with asynchronous collabs, since they won't be together, they can just act as they like. But asynchronous collaborations also have their own disadvantages. So first, it's an unpopular option. Let's just say that if you are trying to invite people for an asynchronous collab, even between the ones that you have gotten close with, it will be very likely to be rejected. But maybe this would be less of a problem with more and more VTubers exploring this option. Let's see how things develop down the line. And another drawback would be less promotional opportunity. So when it comes to, for videos, this might not be a problem if they schedule it close enough, but for streams, unless we are talking about singing relay and similar formats, that would be also less of a problem. But for let's say for the one that I did with Ato Fusuka, so after my stream ends, or maybe while I am streaming, people would come in and expect, oh, maybe Ato Fusuka is streaming as well. But nope, Ato Fusuka's own side of the stream would have to be waited for another day, so people are less inclined to, say, subscribe And when Ato Fusuka do his own side of things, the same effect will come to me as well. And the last advantage is less interactivity. So this goes both ways between the VTubers and the audiences of those VTubers. And it goes without saying that when you split everything up, then there's no interactions between them, or at least directly. But if, let's say, take the example with Ato Fusuka, maybe if, let's say, the other members of the asynchronous collab can present in other ways, such as maybe Discord calls or maybe live chats, there will be some degree of interactivity as well, but it won't be as profound as regular collabs. So this is something that you have to consider when you want to arrange one. And so now, how to prepare for an asynchronous collapse? So there are resources out there on how to arrange one. I'm not going to talk it there since I'm not good at this sort of thing when it comes to regular collapse. But when you arrange one, keep in mind that there are additional details that you need to add. First is arrangement for separate dates. So who's gonna start first? That's one thing. Another thing is, what are the exact dates for both parties? At least on that regard, there are some degree of flexibility, and if necessary, maybe you can swap who's gonna do it first. And then there's goal splits. When it comes to, say, singing relays, this won't be an issue, but you need to, set the schedule, who's going first, who's goes later. That's a headache on its own, but at least there have been a lot of examples of this sort of thing, so you can learn from them. But for the ones that I'm going to announce later on, I'm not so sure if it's understandable. If you want to know what is that, please stay until the end of the stream. And then you need to set up contingency plans if the original arrangement fails. That will depend on what kind of asynchronous collaboration that you want to do. So okay, so the conclusion here is asynchronous collaboration, despite its disadvantages, is a more flexible way of having collaborations when regular synchronous collaborations are not possible. So in my case, yeah, I can only have asynchronous collaborations because of the circumstances behind myself. I did get an collab invite, but unfortunately my schedule for the next few weeks going to be busy. Everything is still on planning stage, I can't tell too much. So that pretty much concludes my presentation on the matter. So now let's move on to the announcement. So first, since I need to demonstrate how this sort of thing works, so I'm going to do 2 score attack streams as content for collaborations. So next Sunday, 23rd April, I'm going to do a Crimson Clover World Explosion, which is in a rush version time attack mode. then followed by the week after, which is Wish Explorer, doing slower level with custom difficulty of Night Parade of Demons. Both of them are score attacks. So I'm going to unveil the details after this stream ends. Yeah, those two live streams will be made visible early, especially the Witch Explorer stream, so that you can start doing practice. And there will be special rules for those streams, which will be announced when the stream schedules are made public. So essentially the stream reservations have been made, so the moment I made it public, you should be able to view them. So if anyone wants to have an asynchronous collab with me on those two live streams, please wait until the stream ends, because I don't want this to turn into something like an expectation for me to beat their score. This is just for fun. It's okay if you fail and all that, but I don't want to make this a big competition. This is just to demonstrate things. If things go well, I am considering doing a different type of collab for it should be a collab for a different game. I haven't decided which game would be, and before anyone asks, it's not going something mainstream or even something like Never Awake or anything like that. I am considering physical layer, but I'm not so sure what kind of preparation is needed for that. And apparently that game has 500 levels, so I'm not so sure if it is feasible to do an asynchronous collab revolving around that game. But all that will depend on whether those two streams attract collab partners. So hopefully things will go well. Yeah, so that concludes my stream for today. So tomorrow I'm going to have a stream on my primary channel. The schedules for next week will be posted on my Twitter around 10 p.m. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.